Supercross 25 has been out for over 2 months at this point. I wanted to make this review video like a week after release, but I decided to wait to see if they will change the game, fix things, see if my opinion changes on it or not. Now keep in mind, this is the 7th Supercross game. The first one came out in like 2018, something like that. We're in the big 2025, 7 Supercross games later. We're going to discuss everything this game has improved on or gotten worse with, all the features that are in this game, and also we're going to ask some other content creators and esports players their opinions on the game. First up, we have Axis. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's only the fastest player in the entire world at Supercross 25 and has been one of the fastest players for like the entire series since like 2019, 2018, whatever. I basically asked him what's one thing you love about the game and one thing you hate about it. He says, as someone that really only cares multiplayer, the thing I hate is the removed features such as lobby browser and race director. I love the crossplay 16 player lobbies though, and I think the physics are fun. So now that we're in multiplayer, let's see what Axis was talking about. Yes, you can create private lobbies, invite all your friends, you can do all that good stuff as before. They have added like a league racing, so there's like your bronze, gold, diamond, all that stupid shit like in Call of Duty. But when you go over to game mode, you can search the ranked session, unranked, or private lobby, of course. So once you hit find lobby or search for unranked, it'll find you a lobby. The thing is though, no lobby search. No track voting, no weather voting. You can't choose the class of bike you want to ride on. The playlist cycles, I'm not sure what the time limit, it's like an hour for each playlist, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the playlist will be set to a 450. You have to ride 450s in multiplayer in a public session. So if you want to do it 125 against randoms, you can't if the playlist is set to 450s. You have to wait like an hour or two for the playlist to change to 250s. And same thing if you want to ride for 450s. If the playlist is stuck on 250s, you can't ride a 450 against randoms unless the playlist is set to 450s.
I can grab you a Coke. Hey, you good, man?
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, no worries.
Now this is just ridiculous. I don't know if they didn't see what MXGP24 did, how they completely got rid of like open lobbies and like lobby search and stuff like that. But Milestone said, you know what, let's make our multiplayer even worse. We'll take out lobby search. We don't want people to have fun. Even though there's crossplay, we don't want people to have fun. Let's make it so they can't choose what class they want to ride on. Let's completely strip the fun and freedom for multiplayer. And yes, they also got rid of race director mode. So people that wanted to create leagues and commentate and do all that cool stuff, you can't, because Milestone's like, you know what, let's just take away good features because we're fucking stupid. Next, we have Kellen, or Start Your Systems, the most popular Milestone motocross YouTuber. This guy knows what he's talking about, and if you don't know who he is, come on, what the hell are you guys doing? How do you not know who Kellen is? Come on. I asked him the same question, what's one thing you love about the game and one thing you hate about it? He says, one thing I love about it is the AI actually can challenge you, and for the most part it doesn't seem like they don't know you exist, so you can even battle with them. This is absolutely true, and it might be my favorite thing about Supercross 25 because I'm a single player guy. I like playing career, regular Grand Prix races, and let me tell you, the AI does not mess around in this game. They are fast. And before they updated some of the tracks, I think it was Indianapolis and Arlington, you could not beat them. They were just on steroids. It was ridiculous, but it was also fun. And if you go and watch all my career streams that I did on Supercross 25 like a month ago, spoiler warning in case you want to go watch them, I did not win every championship. I think I lost like 2 of them or 3 of them, I can't remember, because the AI is so fucking fast. Sometimes you can't qualify for the races. You make one mistake, you crash once, and it seems like a few guys go by you. So if you're doing like a career or championship mode, you actually have to consistently get like top 5s, because if you have a couple like last place finishes, you could probably lose the championship, because it seems like there's a couple AI that are just consistently at the top. And man, they are fast, but also fun to battle with. They'll run it in deep on you if you start hitting them. They get pissed off. They have a skull emoji above their head. So the neural AI or adaptive AI, whatever they were marketing it as, is definitely true and in the game, and I think it might be the best feature in the entire game, and it's the best AI we've ever had, hands down. Then Kellen says, one thing I hate is that they still do not understand how a rider actually moves, and the game feels very stiff and rigid despite the speed and timing of things being the closest it's been yet. If they can make a way more fluid and realistic rider, they change a lot of minds about this game. I think Kellen is 100% accurate here and correct. because the rider, for whatever reason in this game, he's really fat. I've seen everybody complain about that. He looks thick like Cooper Webb or just a thick daddy rider.
Big friggin' surprise. I love happy endings.
But the movements he does are just so unrealistic, rigid, and just clunky and look awful. Especially every time you throw a whip, he kind of hunches up and gets really tight and just looks weird, not smooth. Every time he lands, his legs come off the bike. Every time he lands, it's so annoying. I thought they fixed that with the patch, but then I think when they updated the physics, it seemed like it brought it back or got even worse. Every time you land, one leg comes off or two legs come off, then he's stuck on a clunky animation when you're turning, going through the air, whatever it is. It just looks so awful and completely wrecks throwing whips, moving the bike in the air, all that stuff. And I'm pretty sure I remember hearing Wyndham say in one of his videos last month that he doesn't even want to throw whips in this game because they look so bad with the rider's animations.
I don't scrub in the game is simply because I don't like the way it looks. I'm not scrubbing because of how much I dislike the scrub animation.
And I'm with them 100% on that because the rider animations are just so damn ugly and clunky. And if they can make it look a lot smoother, I think it would definitely make people enjoy the game a bit more for sure. And yes, the controls of the game are very stiff. I'm going to get into that a bit more later in this video. But for the rider animations, they are shit. Next, we have Kimizen. I believe he's a former esports champion, still one of the fastest players in the entire game, so he knows ball. I asked him the same question again. He says, loves crossplay, hates the ruts. For me, this should go back to how it was in the first 5 games. No predefined terrain deformation, no ruts, or the option to turn this off. Now, crossplay is a huge bonus because these games don't really have a huge player base, so it's hard to play with or even find lobbies at times in other games because not many people are playing them. But with crossplay, you can find lobbies. But then again, the multiplayer in this game for finding lobbies is kind of dog shit, so you might have troubles finding lobbies here and there for sure, even with the crossplay. I was able to host open lobbies and have no issues finding people from Xbox, PlayStation, PC. It was a blast, and the servers and multiplayer are actually pretty good, but the whole setting up the lobbies is shit. For the terrain deformation, it's good and bad, but I think it's mostly a negative. The fact that it is predetermined almost makes it not terrain deformation. In their last couple Supercross games, I think maybe in Supercross 6, they had pre-made inside berms and so many corners, and now in this game, they essentially slowly rise and develop. There's like 2 or 3 in each corner. So it's kind of the same thing as Supercross 6 where it's just pre-made berms, predetermined lines or whatever. And the fact that it is predetermined and it makes like these 2 or 3 berms, trenches, and corners, it doesn't make ruts. It really wrecks the racing, trying to make passes on people, the tracks. Combine that with the awful clunkiness of the turning and cornering controls. It's just a bad combination. The fact that this took them 7 games to make a terrain deformation in a Supercross game, and it's just predetermined, it's really laughable, and I think it shows their effort and skills are just not there. Whoever made MXGP3, I don't think they're there at Milestone anymore, because that game didn't have predetermined terrain deformation, and that came out in like 2018, 2019. I find myself liking some parts of the terrain deformation. For an example, here on Daytona, you can't really hit this triple from the inside without like the berm or terrain deformation there. I guess you could, but it's really slow. But after a few laps, that inside starts to develop, and then you can send the triple. Things like that are actually pretty fun with the track deformation. If you're doing long races, you really notice it. If you just do like a 4-minute race, you're not really going to notice any sort of terrain deformation. But then at the same time, it just makes the same lines every single race. Nothing changes. You can't really go from inside to outside and square people up because it just creates big berms. So in my opinion, the terrain deformation, you should have the option to turn this off, because it really is not a good addition to this game, which is crazy. We all want a terrain deformation, but it really isn't executed very well in this game. It's kind of donkey dick. Next, we have Wyndham151. He's been around a long time. Everybody knows who he is. Let's see what he has to say. Dislike the multiplayer. The rotating playlists in favor of the old lobby list suck. Like the community customization feature. The community gear is some of the best I've ever seen in any Supercross game. So again, Wyndham doesn't like the multiplayer rotating playlist. Everybody can probably agree that this is one of the worst ideas they come up with in this game. It's horrible. Nobody likes it. I don't know why they come up with it. Just a brain dead decision probably. But as far as the customization with the custom gear, Holy shit, this is the best feature they came up with ever. So you no longer have to only be on PC to get custom cool looking gear, bike skins. Now you can just make your own, or you can download thousands of others that have been made by people. Making the gear is a little tricky, can be pretty tedious and time consuming, but there's so much gear to choose from, you don't even really have to make your own at this point. You can just go to the helmet list or the gear list, the bike graphics list, and just download whichever one you like. I made this McDonald gear, it looks pretty cool, got the red, white, and yellow. Making the logos is a little tricky to get as well, but again, if you want to just download somebody else's emblem, you can, and just slap it on your own gear. If you want to have OnlyFans gear, you can. People seem to like making that stupid shit. Monster Energy, Rockstar, Honda, Suzuki, any kind of sponsors, it's probably already made in the game and you just gotta find it. It is hands down the coolest and best feature I have seen. I really wish it didn't have to take like 7-8 years for this to come, but it's cool to see. Say a milestone, you get a big thumbs up from me for the custom gear. Awesome job, guys. Next, we have Wedi, one of the fastest players in this game, up-and-coming YouTuber, content creator, organizer of league racing. So again, this guy knows what he's talking about. He says he loves the new customization, hates the online system. So you can kind of see a theme here running, how a lot of the main criticism with this game currently is the online is just completely awful, how they took away lobby search and other key features like race director, etc. But everybody seems to love the customization, myself included. One of the best things about the game, and multiplayer, one of the worst things about the game. Next, we have Goonzig Gaming. Again, one of the goats of like motocross, YouTube, commentaries, all that stuff. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to these games. He says, I'll admit I really do enjoy the core physics in the game, although it can be quirky and do weird things at times. I think the biggest hate I have for the game is simply the lack of replay value. With the current state of multiplayer and ranked, there's nothing super crazy to hook players in and keep them coming back. So again, everybody hates the multiplayer. Nothing is super impressive about it. It's just gotten worse over the years and it's really a shame to see. He enjoys the physics of the game, even though they can be a little quirky at times. I agree with him there. This kind of leads into my next talking point in the video, the physics. Now that I've kind of got everybody else's opinion, the creators, esports players, let's talk about the physics really quick. As I was editing this video, Donut MX finally got back to me. Let's see what he had to say. Also, Donut, I'm still waiting on that Supercross 4 video, man. What the hell, bro? It's been like 5 years. Come on, man. Come back, please. Donut says, nothing groundbreaking to say, lol. To me, they clearly sacrificed the ground physics in order to improve the air physics. This seems to be the main issue every installment. Whatever physics base they've built, they can't figure out how to have slower / fluid whips with their fast / twitchy cornering. Because it's slow in 25, the whips are fluid but cornering is slow, and vice versa. For other games like SX5, where the cornering was fast and satisfying, but in turn, the whips were way too twitchy and goofy looking. I'd prefer the older bad whips with good cornering and MESX1 to 5.
I'm retarded?
So I guess for 25, I think these are their best whips, but worst cornering. I 100% agree with Donut MX here. Supercross 25 has probably the best whips in the entire series, at least feeling wise, but also has probably the worst cornering, which is crazy to think about. Depending on the game, it seems like you have good cornering physics and then just horrible in-air physics. Or the opposite, you have good in-air physics and horrible cornering physics. It's just like a 50-50 depending on which one you get. It just doesn't seem like Milestone has the skill set to really produce good in-air physics and good ground physics in the same game. Let's talk about the free whips that Milestone was marketing with this game. Gone is pushing your sticks in the opposite direction to scrub and throw whips, even though you can still kind of throw oppa whips the same way with pushing your sticks in the opposite direction. How are the free whips? I think they feel pretty good. I think the speed of the scrubs and the whips feels pretty good. The animation actually isn't too bad. You can make some whips look pretty good and scrubs, but the main issue with the whips and stuff like that, this might sound weird, is again the rider physics that we talked about earlier. The rider animations are just so bad in this game, they often make the whips look super weird and feel off. So if they could just straighten out the rider animations, change them, which they probably will never do, the whips would actually be a lot better. They probably are the best we've had, but they aren't fantastic. Now let's talk about the cornering. There is one major issue with the cornering in this game, and that is the controls. For some reason in Supercross 25, they made it so you push your sticks in the opposite direction to turn. They took that away from the whips and brought it to the cornering. This takes so long to get used to. I have gotten used to it now. I have like 60 hours in the damn game by this point. But it takes way too long to wrap your mind around it and get used to it. I think this was the worst thing they did to the physics in this game. It makes the cornering feel so weird and confusing. And when you combine that with the slow-ass cornering speed in this game, even though they have fixed it a little bit, tiny bit, it's just an abomination. Opposite steering in the corners, slow cornering speed, it feels horrible. Especially when you are coming out of rhythm section into a corner, it feels horrible. Or for example, on Daytona, this left-right sand section feels abysmal with the controls and steering in the opposite direction. Feels absolutely horrible. And I have seen some people say, well, it's realistic. In real life, you lean the opposite way and blah, blah, blah. Man, shut your bitch ass up. I don't care if it's realistic or not. It feels like straight cock, okay? It does not feel good. It's horrible. Anybody defending the sticks in the opposite direction to turn is just straight retarded. I'm sorry. You're stupid. Now, you can change the steering in, like, the button mapping section in the game, but it makes the whips feel horrible. It completely changes the controls for the whips. And it's like you have to relearn the game all over again, and it doesn't even fix it. For whatever reason, it makes the controls even worse. I don't know why, what they've done to the physics, cornering-wise, but that's what it does. If you're playing on advanced physics, you're going to have absolutely zero traction. I would highly recommend playing on standard. The game is much more enjoyable and easier to play. Advanced physics are just not as fun. However, it can create more of a skill gap on advanced, I guess. But standard physics, you have way more traction, and it's more fun. Now let's move on to the national tracks. I think there's 5 or 6 of them in this game. When I seen early gameplay of these, I was like, holy shit, these look awful, flat, wide open, not fun. But after playing all of them, I can say these are bangers. They're actually super fun, and especially once the lines start forming the berms, they become really fun and good tracks. If there was no deformation in this game that would form berms and stuff like that, these tracks wouldn't be nearly as fun because the game has a slippery feeling to it on these national tracks for whatever reason. And they're just super wide, so the deformation definitely helps on the national tracks. It's a lot of fun racing the AI on these tracks. For whatever reason, they're on steroids, they're cracked. Have fun beating them because they're just insanely quick. The design of the tracks is actually really well. Big ass jumps, some fast corners, nothing too like difficult. For whatever reason, it just works. And the scenery around the tracks is beautiful. I gotta say, Milestone, I was pleasantly surprised. These national tracks are awesome, and I kind of wish we had a little more of them. Not gonna lie. Let's hop over to the career really quick. Now, it's kind of similar to what we've seen before. Now, there's nothing too crazy about it. I think this is the best career we've had in any Supercross game. But that's not saying much because we never really had an amazing career in any motocross game, really, ever. But this is the best one in the series. They brought back, like, the social media hub that we've seen before, but now you can reply to comments. So sometimes if you see Ricky in there, you can talk shit to him. That's what I always do. It's kind of funny. Or if you have an rival with, I don't know, Stuart, and you want to talk shit to him, you can. Even though you do kind of see some of the same replies and answers every once in a while, it's still pretty fun and just hilarious to talk shit. They introduced like a bike development system in career. It's nothing too crazy. You kind of just start with a stock bike, and then each race, if your team synergy's high from being nice to people in the comments and stuff, your bike can develop faster, basically. You can choose top speed, acceleration, handling, and I think braking. So the bike will slowly get better and better after each weekend. Now, this makes sense on like a privateer team, but with a factory team, it's kind of weird to start out with a slower bike. It is a little odd, I'm going to say that right now. And I'm pretty sure, even if you stay with the same team, I think your bike development resets. I've heard that. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard it resets, which is kind of stupid. So if you fully upgrade a stock bike, the next season you stay with your same team, it'll reset, even on a factory team. That's what I've heard. Not too sure about that, though, so don't quote me on that. The only thing I really hate about career mode is after like every 3 or 4 races, I don't know, you have to do a national race for whatever reason to get your team synergy up. You can't skip this, so it just completely wrecks the flow. It just adds more time that just does not need to be played. You should be able to skip these because I feel like in past games you could skip these events. For whatever reason you're forced to do these. They take like 5-10 minutes. It's really annoying. So yeah, career, it's the best in the series, but it's nothing like spectacular. On to one of the most disappointing and just frustrating things with this game, we have Track Editor. Now, I made a separate video like right after launch of Track Editor, so if you want to hear me talk about more in-depth stuff with the Track Editor, you can go watch that. When it launched, there were no berms. You just had flat corners. It took, I think, over a month to have berms in Track Editor.
The thing with me is that I am smart, and I'm self-smarted, basically, by myself. Basically from nature and smoke and drugs and doing different things, I've self-learned myself.
Absolute fucking joke. I don't know how that's even a thing. I don't understand why Milestone removes basic features like that and then adds them in later to the game. Be like, oh, we're listening to you guys, we're fixing them. It just makes no fucking sense. You have all the same objects that we've had before. Nothing really new. You can't turn every jump backwards or forwards like you could in Supercross 1 and 2, I believe it was. Still don't have that feature back. Can't make everything sand. You can't fully customize like the height and lip of your jump or anything like that. It's all the same objects we've had for like 7-8 years at this point. And for whatever reason, they made the menu and navigation system so damn confusing. You can't see the pictures of your jumps anymore. You can change like the length of the jump and the height, but all you're doing is choosing pre-made jumps that were already in the game before. And instead of showing us pictures, we have to kind of guess which ones we're putting down, if that makes sense. It's a confusing and just mind-numbing thing to do. Also, if you finish like an entire track or a few sections and you want to go back and maybe edit 1 or 2 jumps or a corner, you can't. You have to delete the entire track in order to go back and edit one thing. It's a joke. And the funny thing is, they marketed terrain deformation with this game. Track Editor has 0 terrain deformation, still 2 months after launch. I tested this like 2 days ago, did a 20-minute race. After like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, there were still no lines being formed. That just shows how lazy Milestone is, or incapable they are, of just producing quality. They decided not to do pre-made berms and like ruts in Track Editor for whatever reason. All you'd have to do is just put them in the corners, but they couldn't do that. They decided to leave it out. And like the tabletop over-under jumps, for whatever reason, they have like a trash bag texture over them still, I believe. I don't know, man. Track Editor, it's a joke. Ever since Supercross 2, it's been going backwards and backwards and backwards, and it just pisses me off. Also, if you want to test your track, for whatever reason, you make a section and then let's say you go off your track, it slows your rate down like you're going 5 kilometers an hour. I don't know why it does that. It's like a glitch, and sometimes you get stuck in that slow state and you have to go back in a Track Editor and back into testing your track. It's a bug that just, I don't know how it's still in the game. Also, I'm not sure what happened to first person and the rain. The rain's basically non-existent. And first person is just so shaky. It's kind of similar to Supercross 3's rigid first person camera. It's just not very good. So overall, my thoughts on Supercross 25. Is it the best game in the series? No. Is it the worst in the series? No. I'd probably put it right in the middle behind Supercross 1, 2, and 3, in that range. It's better than Supercross 4, 5, and 6, I believe, but not better than the first 3 games. They took some good steps forward with this game, but then I think they took way too many steps back and making dumb decisions. Every time Milestone does something good, they take away like 5, 10 different good things in the game already, or they make something worse. I do applaud Milestone for actually fixing all the tracks, because on launch there was like 3 or 4 tracks that were properly made, and the rest were just shit and horrible. So I guess I do applaud Milestone for that, but it took like 2 months to get every track updated, and it's a full price game. You'd think the tracks would actually be made proper. So even though I give Milestone some credit, it's just hard to give them that much credit because it's a full price game. It should launch with basic features like that, like actual made tracks. I still cannot recommend this game at full price. I do have some fun with it, but like I'm already just over it at this point. It took me a couple weeks and I was kind of done with the game, which is what usually happens. Like these games just don't have enough going for them to keep you hooked. They really don't. If I were to give this game a score to 10, I'd probably give it like a 6, including everything. There's just some basic features that were missing at launch, or they still have not added to the game, or just have lacked caring in the depth of the game. It's not a bad game, but it's not a good game. It's kind of mediocre at best. It has potential to be one of the best, but it just falls short. There's some basic things with this game that are just not good, that should be. So let me know what you guys think down below of your opinions on the game, what you disagree or agree with. But yeah, other than that, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, take care.